New tonight, Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke in her own defense, weeks after the LG said she failed to report campaign donations from a man tied to a bribery investigation. She posted a message online describing it as an innocent mistake.
I have released a clear timeline addressing the questions raised in the press about specific campaign contributions. I invite you to visit my website to review the facts as I know them.
In this video on her Instagram today, Luke addressed the errors she made in her campaign finance reports and announced a new timeline on her website outlining meetings she had with people involved in the bribery case, along with the contributions she received and when. Luke said she's embarrassed, but never acted in bad faith.
I have never granted special favors to a contributor, and I have never intentionally violated campaign finance rules.
Luke also said she's hired a professional campaign finance compliance firm to audit her past reports. Hawaii's Attorney General is investigating the case.